Hello there. How progressive. The Scottish Government proposes to allow anyone over 16 to stand for election to Holyrood. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. So Nicola Sturgeon's SNP government wants to widen the right to stand as a candidate in all elections in Scotland, bar UK general elections, to anyone over the age of 16 with the right to vote. And the only reason general elections will be excluded is because those rights are controlled by the UK government. Therefore, in all Scotland-only elections, anyone from outside the country that lives there over the age of 16 will also be able to stand for election. I foresee the progressive SNP putting forward a few 16 and 17-year-old candidates of their own and actually selecting one of them in time to replace Sturgeon as their new national leader. You can see it coming. Oh, look how progressive we are, they would coo amongst themselves. And of course they wouldn't parachute a few into safe SNP seats to ensure they have an age-diverse representation in Holyrood, would they? The only saving grace about all of this nonsense is that none of those young candidates will have progressed through the A-level phase, let alone the ubiquitous university indoctrination process by then. Not that that matters much, given the reported state of Scottish education at the moment. And that their colleagues will always be on hand to give them guidance. Wonder when they will fit their education in, though. But the Scottish Greens want to go further. They say that asylum seekers living in Scotland should also be given the vote. And if given the vote under these new rules, then they could surely also stand for local and Holyrood elections in Scotland as well. Now, one of the objections raised to all of this regards the issue of safeguarding those under 18. The hours worked. Where will they live while attending Holyrood in Edinburgh away from family homes, etc.? As well as the rather robust way the public and press are when interacting with politicians. Will they have a babysitter sat next to them during TV interviews? Will interviewers have a special code of conduct for politicians under 18? Well, if these young politicians can vote and sit in Parliament making policies for the rest of Scotland, then surely that should be the new age of majority in Scotland. Able to form contracts, go to war, drink, smoke, drive, go into pubs. Not have to be in employment or training, and all the other stuff that politicians have so far used to guide the young into a useful life. Why not? They'll be voting in Parliament on all those exact same policies, won't they? And if they are capable of doing that at 16, then they can also wear the full responsibility of life, surely. I wonder what the hard-nosed business community in Scotland that provides much of the tax money on which the policies flowing from Holyrood depend would think about this after the first tranche of O-level politically woke and wealth redistributive legislation emanated from such an institution. And in a nothing-to-see-here moment, it now transpires that a previously loosely attributed loan of over 100 grand given to the SNP to cover so-called cash flow problems actually originated from Peter Murrell, Nicola Sturgeon's husband and SNP chief executive. The loan had originally been put down as provided by the executive management, but after calls to come clean, the record was updated at the Electoral Commission. Nearly half of this loan has so far been recorded as being repaid. The Scottish Tory chairman Craig Hoy said, "The role played by Peter Murrell in the SNP grows murkier by the day. It is beyond odd for the SNP chief executive and Nicola Sturgeon's husband to be lending his employer a six-figure sum of money. This highly unusual move comes on top of an ongoing police probe into the missing £600,000 of donations. This cash was meant to be ring-fenced for another IndieRef campaign, yet a string of people left senior posts in the party citing a lack of financial transparency. It's high time the SNP came clean to their own members about what is actually going on and explained why their chief executive is making such large loans to the party his wife leads. And I have to say, why not just be fully open and say the loan came from Murrell in the first place? And the police investigation into where this £600,000 supposedly ring-fenced money has disappeared to seems to be taking an awfully long time. Now, in signs that this cost of living squeeze isn't easing, the Times reports that UK company insolvencies have soared. And the number of businesses going under in November was 35% higher than in November 2019, just before the pandemic. And the 2029 corporate insolvencies were 21% higher than last November. And much of this is voluntary liquidations, as businesses are shuttered by owners before being forced to do so by creditors. Now, many of these may have been virtual zombie businesses prior to the pandemic, or became zombie during the pandemic, and all held together by pandemic loans, furlough schemes, and temporary legislation to protect companies in the hope they recover after the pandemic. But now all that protection is falling away, and as the new cost of living starts biting, the tide really is going out, and those without the requisite swimwear are there for the creditors to see. But just for comparison, the Atradius Group is forecasting sharp rises in business failures for 2022. In the UK, 59% increase. In France, 58%. Austria, 78%. Belgium, Canada and Australia, 49%. And then for 2023, the USA, 81%. The Netherlands, 77%, Singapore, 76%, and Italy, 51%. Germany is also experiencing an increase in insolvency itself, with the IWH Economic Institute saying that over 700 German entities became insolvent in August, a 26% jump on last year, with expectations that this trend would continue. And Credit Reform says that overall there will be 4% more bankruptcies in Germany this year than there were last year. But Patrick Ludwig Hansch, head of economic research at Credit Reform, also said during a Frankfurt presentation that this is likely to be just the prelude to a further acceleration in insolvency activity, indicating that Germany might be just behind the power curve on all of this. The message is that this is global, so don't be fooled into thinking it's just a UK thing and all down to Brexit, for example. The Ramonas are very good at painting that very false picture. In fact, in truth, quite a few future insolvencies will now have the stamp of these strikes all over them. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.